Yeah, I think he hasn't fought someone like me. I've fought people like him my whole career. He's never fought someone like me.
Oh, he got rolled out of it. He rolled out of it. Beautiful job by Jack. I see the body.
Right body for Della Maddalena.
Cuban shirt.
Oh, Bird's covered up and now elbows. Della Maddalena can smell the finish.
Oh, my goodness.
Burns trying to survive the final minute plus.
That's it. That's it.
17 in a row for Jack Della Maddalena.
What
Welcome to the top 5.
My eyes are locked on him. He's my bullseye right now, and that's all I'm worried about.
Solidifying myself as the best guy in this generation and the best welterweight ever.
He's not about loud words or trash talk. This guy lets his actions speak for themselves. 17 straight wins, an 88% finish rate, and one of the most feared names in the welterweight division. Fight fans, get ready for Jack Della Maddalena.
Jack Della Maddalena is a very exciting fighter. He's a tremendous striker, and he really does have all the skills in the world.
You got the jump come hook or crook on Leon. You're goddamn right he should be fighting for the world championship.
Tonight, we'll show you why UFC 315 might just become the longest night of the reigning welterweight champion's career. Belal is about to step into the cruelest, scariest, and most hopeless reality. One where the Australian Maniac tears through his opponents with ruthless precision.
On episode 3 of the past season of The Contender, we saw an outstanding performance from Australia's Jack Della Maddalena. He went out there and battered Ange Looser from pillar to post, all 3 rounds, a clean sweep on the scorecards. And when you saw this guy fight, you knew that he was going to get a contract, and get a contract he did, and he will be having his first fight in the UFC, taking on the undefeated Pete Rodriguez.
Wasn't it a bit too risky for the UFC to throw a debutant in against an undefeated killer with 6 straight wins? Pete Rodriguez had a 100% finish rate, had never tasted defeat, and was handpicked by the promotion as a rising star. He was so deadly on the feet that he finished every fight in the very first round, but against the Aussie newcomer, he didn't even last 1 round. As it turned out, the welterweight division simply wasn't ready for what Jack brought to the table. His phenomenal striking skills left even seasoned boxers struggling to keep up. In just 1 year in the UFC, the Aussie racked up 3 finishes by technical knockout, and that quickly earned him the label of an easy target for elite wrestlers. With names like Kamaru Usman, the still active Khamzat Chimaev, the newly rising Shavkat Rakhmonov, and champion Leon Edwards, this division has become a living nightmare for any striker. But Jack was different.
Yeah, 100. I want to challenge. I honestly want to challenge myself. Like, I want to say these names, put myself in a fight, and then have to fight my way out of those situations. And that's what I'm in this game to challenge myself.
Next up for Della Maddalena was a true test. A wrestling specialist meant to push the Aussie to his limits. Randy Brown, a UFC veteran with 14 fights, was riding a 4-fight win streak. He had the pressure game on the ground, finishes by both knockout and submission, and was seen as the perfect challenge. But like all of Jack's previous opponents, he met the same fate, a quick defeat in the very first round.
On a surfboard and led to that stance in front.
We're not seeing it here. He's staying very, very sharp because, Randy Brown, that range is so hard to figure out. Look at those teep kicks to the face and the body. That's going to be the issue.
But this is what Jack needs to do. Cut off the cage, corral him against the fence, take away the reach and the range, get on the inside and let go with the hands like now. This is the dangerous opening. He dropped him with the hook. This
he hurt him bad.
Barbados taking a good look.
Still in it, gave him time.
Takes the back.
Oh, he gets a choke immediately. No hooks in.
That's it.
Got 1 hook.
That's
It's
it.
over.
14
Wow.
from the budding superstar, Jack Della Maddalena.
Unbelievable.
Wow. I mean, beautiful. Jack Della Maddalena, the real deal.
Brett Okamoto backstage UFC 284 with Jack Della Maddalena, who came in with a lot of expectations and exceeded all of them. And in fact, man, if you keep doing this, you're going to have us setting some really unhealthy expectations where if you don't get a guy out in 20 seconds, then no one's going to be impressed with you anymore.
Yeah, no, I was hoping this one. So honestly, I was like, this one might probably go on for a bit longer. I'm trying to get the finish from the get-go, but I thought this might be the time to let it get deep into the 3rd round, but I hit him, he went down. I had to take the opportunity to get it out of there.
That fight erased the label of a one-dimensional fighter from Jack once and for all. Despite being a boxer at heart, he managed to choke out a highly experienced grappler, proving he was far more than just a striker. As expected, the winner of that bout was promised a shot at a big name next.
Pretty keen. I was pretty keen to fight anyone, really. I'd come this far, so I was ready to go. And yeah, those names sounded cool. There was also Chris Curtis that was there, and it was never actually offered to me. I just saw the names saying that they would step up, so it sounded good to me. And I thought possibly it might be at a heavier weight, so I started eating a little bit more. But
oh no,
none of them actually came to fruition.
The UFC spent a long time searching for the right opponent for Jack, someone with real star power. But then everything in the division shifted after that shocking knockout in the Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards fight. The balance of power in the welterweight division had changed, and suddenly fighters outside the top 10 found themselves in limbo. But when a ranked contender is finishing fights and carving a path straight to the title, you can't ignore him for long. And so the UFC gave Jack a shot on short notice against former regional American promotion champion Basil Hafez. Making his UFC debut at the peak of his career, Hafez stepped in, and on the night of UFC on ESPN 49, the two delivered a high-level war that outshined even the main event. Basil surprised both fans and experts by showing the best form of his entire career, pushing Jack in a highly competitive showdown. 3 rounds of a brutal gladiator-style war, broken bones, spilled blood, and a crowd stunned by the intensity ended with Jack taking the win by split decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I really want to go back and look at it. But yeah, I think this is probably something that will happen in the future with just the nature of the game. So yeah, I just took the challenge on the head on and continue the road.
Up next, Jack was scheduled to face Sean Brady, but the fight never came to be. Brady suffered an injury, and stepping in on short notice was none other than the number 13 ranked welterweight, Kevin Holland.
If I keep working and I keep winning, then eventually I'll get the fight. And then when I get the fight, and I'll tell you guys, it'll be that much more juicy. I'll probably add a couple little spins and flares on it, but it'll be juicy. It'll be good for you guys.
Do you see this as a bigger opportunity for someone like yourself to go out there Saturday night, make a statement, and catapult yourself in the rankings and ultimately get you closer to the top?
I think so. I think a good win over Kevin Holland will get me into a nice spot to fight one of the top contenders.
The Aussie immediately took control of the center of the octagon, applying pressure from the opening seconds. Jack was hunting for the finish, throwing crisp combinations and targeting both the body and head of Holland. Kevin in turn focused more on low kicks and front kicks to keep the distance. At times the two went toe-to-toe in close range, but in nearly every exchange it was JDM who came out looking sharper. The pace slowed in the second round. Both fighters were more cautious, always looking to respond to each other's attacks. In the final round, the rhythm remained mostly the same. We saw more clean shots to the head and heavy body work. But despite these sharp exchanges, the fight went the distance. Jack's measured approach surprised many fans, but the result was undeniable. The Aussie extended his impressive win streak to 16 and climbed to the number 11 spot in the rankings. With that, Jack had earned the right to face a top-tier opponent. And next up was the most dangerous name of his career.
Yeah, it's a big one for me. You know, he's a top 5. I think this is. I feel like if you can't beat Gilbert Burns, you can't become a world champion. So my plan is to beat Gilbert Burns and prove that I belong in the top 5.
The fight against Gilbert Burns was expected to be the toughest test of Jack's career. His last 2 bouts had gone the distance, and critics were starting to say the Aussie was far from his old destructive form. And to top it off, Burns had that legendary war with Khamzat Chimaev under his belt.
Yeah. Burns' jiu-jitsu is so high level.
Yeah.
So high level. And, you know, the best example of that is when he fought Chimaev. Chimaev's wrestling's next level, man. And he was afraid to be on the ground with Burns.
A split decision win isn't going to do it. I think I need to go in there and take him out, get the finish, and I think then, stay my spot in the next welterweight contender.
Jack knew exactly how much this win meant. Just like him, Burns was chasing title contention and a long-awaited comeback to the top. Burns leaned heavily on the clinch and his grappling, while Jack looked to impose his own striking game. The first 2 rounds were razor close, a gritty high-level battle. But as it turned out, the Aussie was simply setting the stage for a finish. Jack was patiently waiting for the perfect opening, and in the third round it finally came. With under 2 minutes left on the clock, Burns missed an opportunity to maintain control on the ground and shot for another takedown. Jack caught him coming in with a vicious counter, a perfectly timed knee to the head. Burns lost his balance and JDM swarmed in with a ruthless flurry to finish the job. The Brazilian stayed down for several minutes, struggling to recover. It was a phenomenal return to form, a brutal finish and a triumphant moment that earned Jack his long-awaited shot at the title.
You got to give him credit. I definitely think it's a boring style, but I mean, I think winning is obviously his #1 goal and fair play to him, but I feel like I can beat him. I'm a more dangerous fighter for sure, and I think I can not only get the world title, but get the world title off a dominant finish.
17 straight wins, brutal knockouts, and unforgettable wars. His striking skills are absolutely elite, making him the most dangerous fighter in the division, capable of knocking out anyone with a single shot. What do you think? Can Jack claim the welterweight crown? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you later.